Welcome to the channel. This will be the first of my tie and toss series of videos where I tie up a fly here at the vise and then take it down to the water and see what the fish think about it. In this episode, we'll be tying up a variant of one of the most popular freshwater patterns, the woolly bugger. And while the traditional woolly bugger is a great fly and really needs no introduction, it can be somewhat confusing when you're first learning to tie, especially when it comes to wrapping the hackle and counter wrapping with wire. The beginner bugger that we'll be tying in this episode simplifies that process. By using a modern synthetic material from Montana Fly Company, we're able to reduce the number of steps as well as the time it takes to tie this fly. This fly only uses a few materials and is a fantastic beginner fly, but it also makes a really great guide fly. You can tie these up in a matter of minutes, fill boxes with multiple sizes and colors, and they flat out catch fish. So, let's tie one up, see what you guys think. All right, let's get started. To start out with, we're going to take our 025 lead wire and put down about 8 to 10 wraps to get a good lead base. Like I said, this is optional. This just helps you get down the water column a little quicker. With our lead in place, we're going to go ahead and take our thread and start it right behind the lead base. Get it secure. Snip the excess, and then we're going to take open spiral wraps across that lead base all the way to the bead and then back again. Then we're just going to continue to repeat this process. These cross-hatching thread wraps really help lock that lead base in place and prevent from spinning. All right, with our lead in place, we're going to take our marabou and measure it out. For this fly, you want your marabou a little bit longer than a shank length. Then we're going to take that thread, get a couple of loose wraps right behind the lead base, pull it snug, fold your marabou back, get a couple thread wraps to lock it down, advance it to just behind the bead, lay your marabou down, get a couple more snug wraps, again fold that back, a couple more wraps, and then trim your excess. By tying in your marabou like this, it really helps lock it in place. And then just like the lead, we're going to take those cross-hatching thread wraps towards the rear and then back towards the front again to really lock that marabou down. With our marabou tied in place, we're going to take our chenille, tie it in just in front of the hook point. And then advance our thread back to the bead and then add a whip finish or half hitch to go ahead and secure that thread. If you have a rotary vise, this is where you can use the rotary function, but I find it just as easy just to go ahead and wrap it like I show here in the video. Now, with this chenille, you're going to want all of the fibers to face rearward. So take a couple of loose wraps, splay in those fibers back, then pull that snug, and then continue to take snug wraps that are touching all the way to the bead, splaying those fibers back with your fingers as you go. Once you get your chenille to the bead, take your thread, go ahead and lock it down. Fold that back, add a couple of thread wraps to really lock it down, trim your excess, then go ahead and add a couple of whip finishes. At this point, I like to use a material clip. It really helps hold those fibers back and keep them from getting in your tie. Go ahead and snip your thread off, and then you can leave the material clip in place. I took it off a little bit early in this video. Then take whatever your adhesive choice is, super glue, Zap-A-Gap, UV's resin, whatever you prefer. Go ahead and add a couple of dabs to those thread wraps. Give that a few minutes to dry. Then take a brush. Careful not to get in your marabou. And go ahead and brush that chenille out. This material really benefits from being brushed out, really frees up any of those fibers that were trapped in the wrapping process. And then since this is a size 10 hook, I'm gonna go ahead and trim that chenille down. This just helps give it a little better profile given the size of the hook. And just look at it from all angles. Trim everything down as you go, kind of fluff it up. Brush it out again if needed. All right, there you have it, the finished beginner bugger. All right, we got our jig bugger that we tied up earlier. Went ahead and tied it on 9'5" weight. We're gonna use a 3X leader. Take it down the river, see how it fishes. There we go, fish on the second cast. Well, I'd say it worked. I fished all 4 of these color variations of this pattern, and olive was definitely the top performer of the day on this particular trout stream. Thanks for watching. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have a question, be sure and leave it in the comments.